Trying to get the Valentine's Day mood. Lighting. I know Valentine's Day was yesterday, but whatever. Valentine's week. Oh God. Strobe light. Should we do red for Valentine's Day? Let's get all hellish. We're sticking with the classic teal. Okay. Teal could be about love. If you're in love with like a mermaid under the water. I don't know where I'm going with this. This is not good. For movies to video games, welcome to Marie Plays It All. Today's episode is another solo side quest. It's Valentine's Day month, I guess. We're going to keep with the theme. And for some reason, that means I'm going to be by myself. I have no one as my partner today, but I think that I'm going to stick with a Valentine's Day couples theme like I did kind of for last week's episode where I was talking about kissing. I'm just going to talk about couples in general. I'm going to talk about on-screen couples, the best and the worst. Now, again, this is just my personal opinion. And I was trying to think about what would decipher, like what would make a couple on screen good and what would make them bad. And to me, when I'm watching a movie or a TV show, and I think that a couple is a good couple, it's if they have differences, but they can accept the differences, look and not even look past the differences, but accept them, embrace them maybe, and they still love each other regardless of their pretty severe differences sometimes. Also, if they have a story based on something deeper than just superficial love, something deeper than just, oh, I met you, it's love at first sight. And it's like the storybook romance because that's not real. I love seeing like realism. I like seeing the dirt. I love seeing the darkness. I like seeing all of the challenging parts of relationships, but they decide to stick together and make it through and they pull through. And I just feel like that is more like a true version of love that I like to see when I'm watching movies and TV shows. Now, on my best list, I mostly have TV shows because I find that couples in TV shows, you spend more time with them. They have a longer story, obviously. Like we're talking like some shows like 10 seasons long. So you see the characters grow themselves and you see them come together and you see them grow together for the most part. Sometimes in TV shows that are 10 years long, there's some stinkers on there and they still aren't a good couple. And you're like, what did you do, writers? Why did you do this? So maybe it's a lesson of what you shouldn't do in relationships. Now, for worst couples, what I think and consider to be like some of the worst couples on screen, it's usually people who I don't like saying toxic. I don't like saying toxic relationships because I feel like that word is just thrown around frivolously. It's not taken seriously. But then we're talking about TV shows and movies, so who cares? I mean, it's not like we're really going to be like, your relationship's toxic, and they're going to listen to you and they're going to decide based on what we're saying. Sometimes for TV standards and movie standards, they are toxic AF. And some of them are like cherished relationships. And when you look back on it, or if you grow up and you watch it again, if you really think about it, this is a terrible relationship and these two shouldn't be together. So I think we should just get into it. I don't have them in any order. I don't have a specific number. I'm just going with, in my personal opinion, the best and the worst relationships on screen. I'm going to go with the best first. So I'm going to start with one of my personal favorites, Chandler and Monica from Friends. This is kind of a cliche one, but the reason why I love Chandler and Monica so much, especially when you go back and you rewatch Friends, which I have done probably 30 times at least, probably, you see their characters and how close they are during the whole series. And this is before I even think that the writers knew they were going to have them end up together. They didn't know. Even when Chandler and Monica end up having their night together, they weren't going to keep them as a couple, I don't think. But then because of the reaction the audience gave, they did. But if you go back and you rewatch it, you see them on the couch together, like holding each other. You see them have these really tender moments that just, for the writer's sake, played very well into their relationship growing and then becoming closer and for them to become a couple at the end. Now, I love that they didn't cause too much drama with this couple. I mean, there was that time when Richard came back for like an episode and there was a little bit of like, oh, is she going to leave Chandler for Richard? And I'm so glad they didn't do that. It really showed a lot about Monica's character and Chandler's character. But for the rest of the series after that, there was like no real drama between them, which I really loved. Like there's funny drama, but there wasn't like a real like, oh my God, are they gonna break up? Like there wasn't, they didn't play around with that too much, which was great. I find that Monica and Chandler is one of the perfect examples for opposites attract, and like having one person be a certain way is good for the other person. And it's more of like a completion aspect instead of two people who are exactly the same and don't grow together. Is Monica being really high strung, really anal about everything, really anxious and like high maintenance and everything. Then Chandler being like more goofy and comedic and more lax with stuff. They really, really complement each other. And my favorite quote in that whole show is when Monica is trying to prove that she isn't high maintenance to Rachel and Phoebe. Chandler says to her, well, you are high maintenance, but I love or I like maintaining you, which to me is just the sweetest, one of the sweetest quotes in all like TV history. I feel like that's beautiful. Monica and Chandler, you guys, death are like top tier. Okay, I'm gonna go. The next one is gonna be from a movie, and I'm gonna go with Joel and Clementine from Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. If there are people out there who haven't seen this movie, or if you're really into romance, like real, I'm trying to watch my words this on YouTube, like real painful, realistic romance and love. That couple in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, I think, is the epitome of we're gonna stick together no matter what, and no matter what we do, we're like meant for each other type of thing. So Joel, who is Jim Carrey, meets Clementine, who is Kate Winslet, and they end up breaking up. I haven't seen this movie in a while, so I don't remember like the stages of it. But anyways, Clementine has her mind erased by this device from this company that can take certain memories and erase certain memories and people away from your minds. Like we've all wished for that, right? Like you've had like a bad breakup and you're like, damn, I wish I can forget that ever happened. Like I would be like the pain, take it away. Just take it away, erase this person, please. So that exists in this movie. And she gets it done to erase her memories of Joel. And then Joel finds out that she got it done. And then he wants it done for her to erase the memories of her. When Joel is getting his memories erased of Clementine, he realizes in the process, while in the memories, that he actually wants to keep the memories of her. So he's hiding the memories of her and their relationship in different memories that he has in his mind. It's hard to explain. So that the machine, the company can't find those memories. So he's hiding her in places that they wouldn't look, type thing. A bunch of stuff happens. I don't want to say the whole movie, but a tape gets given to Joel and Clementine, and they figure out that they had their memories erased from each other and that they actually were in a relationship before and all this stuff. And long story short, they realize at the end that no matter what happens in their relationship, there's going to be all the hard times. She's going to act a certain way that he's not going to like. He's going to act a certain way that she's not going to like. And Jim Carrey's just like, so he's like, okay, sure, let's let's do it anyway. And Kate Winslet's like, yeah, okay, let's do it anyway. So it's like a happy ending from what we can tell. And it's proving that no matter what like hardships, you guys, I'm gonna start crying. Okay. That's why I like to get the emotional good stuff out at first so I can just be like crazy and yelling at the end. They both realize that no, like whatever the relationship is going to entail, like whatever challenges and hardships come their way, they are agreeing to be with each other because it's worth it. It's worth it to go through it together. And I think that is so beautiful and realistic. And it's also proving like sometimes the bad times and the bad things that happen in the relationship and the challenges you face in the relationship, you need to remember them because that's how you grow. And that's how you learn to love somebody. And that's how you learn to be in a relationship and learn to trust and safety and everything is like when you can be your worst self and that person still accept you and love you for that. That is most important. Not like, hey, we have troubles. We're gonna split up and then I'm gonna erase you from my mind. No, like that's all you learn from that. And you can still love each other through that. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, you guys. You guys just it's so real and so good. Okay, trying to not get too emotional. I'm gonna go for another good one that is my favorite. And I know I'm saying that all these should be realistic, But in reality, I gotta throw this little like fantastical relationship in there because I don't know if there's anybody out there who lives like this or if there's a couple out there that exists like this. I don't think so. Maybe that's the beauty of them. It's just like a glorified, beautiful, like fantasy, dark fantasy couple. And that is Morticia and Gomez Adams. Okay. Like those two are so unbelievably obsessed with each other and they're so passionately in love with one another. And it's this dark romance, this dark, like, um, gothic romance. And the way they talk about each other, the way they talk to each other, the way they treat each other, the quotes in that movie, the first one, Adam's Family, the like the old one. I'm talking about the old one with Angelica Houston and was it Raul Julia. Those two are the epitome of like this fantasy couple where you're like, damn, like that's like storybook, dark storybook love. Like that's poetic love. That's like the yearning type, pain and beauty type love. And I love them. I had to throw it in there for one of my favorite couples, one of the best couples. Even though some people might look at that and be like, that's toxic AF. Yeah, but it's fun. It's fun toxicity. The next one I'm going to do is a couple from my most favorite rom-com movie ever in life. And I think, in my opinion, again, is the best rom-com in existence. And that is Harry and Sally from When Harry Met Sally. Again, another perfect example of a realistic love. How many times can I say realistic in this episode? How about you guys start a drinking game right now? And every time I say the word realistic, you gotta take a shot. Ready? I'll wait. Go get your drinks. Okay, got them. Realistic, realistic, realistic. Not kidding. You will perish. So again, this whole movie is a realistic portrayal about love and relationships. Now, when Harry met Sally, they start off meeting each other on a drive to what is it? It's like the university in New York, right? What is it called? The University of New York. I'm Canadian. I don't know. Is that what it is? Anyway, they drive to university and then and that it was a very funny comedic car ride. And then they just go their separate ways. And then they come back together in life and they become friends. This is again, long story short, they become friends, best friends, really close friends. Harry has this thing where this a philosophy that men and women can't be friends because, especially if they're both single, because the physicality part will always get into the way. And they prove, for the most part of the movie, that that's incorrect. They can be friends until one night when Sally's vulnerable and the physicality gets in the way. And then of course there's drama, blah blah, and then there's she wants more. He claims he doesn't, and then he really realizes he's in love with her, and then they end up together. But the reason why it's so good is they have a solid foundation based on friendship first. And I love that. And I love that again, they're very opposite. Like again, she's like the anal one and the nitpicky, high strung, and he's like the fly by the seat of your pants, but also darker. She's more positive and he's more like dark, but they complement each other and they need that in one another. And they realize just how much they need that in one another after failed relationship after failed relationship after failed relationship. And they realize like, who do you always want to go to? Who do you feel like most comfortable with? Who is like kind of like your safety? And they realize that they have seen each other at their worst times, at their best times. They've seen each other at their ugliest times. They have seen each other's like bad sides, gross sides, all that. And the love remains and it's still strong. It only makes it stronger. One of my most favorite lines in any movie ever, not just a rom-com movie, just any movie ever, is when Harry runs to meet Sally at a New Year's Eve party and he says to her, I get choked up. He says, I came here tonight because when you realize you want to spend the rest of your life with someone, you want the rest of your life to start as soon as possible. And I just love that quote. I love it. If anybody has not seen When Harry Met Sally, I beg of you, please watch it. It is for anyone. It's not like a cheesy rom-com movie. It's awesome. And Carrie Fisher's in it, Princess Leia, and her name is Marie in it. So I'm going to give one more, but before I do that, I'm going to give a couple honorable mentions, and that's Ben and Leslie from Parks and Rec. Adore them together. Also, Claire and Phil. Claire and Phil from Modern Family is another perfect example of two halves of a whole. Two completely different people that complete each other and they need each other to grow and they need each other to basically level out. I really did not like what they did at the beginning of the series when they made Phil really into Gloria. I'm really glad they abandoned that plot line of the show because it didn't seem to fit. And the way they abandoned it was very, very smart and made him realize just how lucky he was to have Claire. And then I just feel like everything from then on, Phil was a more likable character, and their relationship was just like so ideal. They really embrace and accept each other's differences. And I feel like it's so beautiful how supportive they are of one another all the time. Just it's like it's a TV show, right? Whatever. But he's like you really feel like these two love each other and they belong together. You feel like these two belong together. So I had to throw that one in because I've been watching a lot of Modern Family again lately, and I just adore Claire and Phil so much. But I'm going to pick one last one here to talk about, and that's Michael and Holly from The Office. Now, Michael had a really bad string of relationships. He has some of the worst relationships in TV history, maybe. But when he meets Holly and realizes that she is such a nerdy, dorky person, just like he is, the look in his eyes that he gets, he like realizes instantly that she's the one. Now, I said I don't really like unrealistic love at first sight type romances, but they had that. Well, he had that with her at first, and then of course they end up separating for like a couple seasons, I think, two at least, and then they come back together, and then that they have to like work on that a little bit, and there's like some drama mixed in, but again, that makes it more realistic than just like love at first sight storybook romance. Everything works out and it's fine. I love how Michael said that she was willing to wait for. He just knew that they were going to end up together. She wasn't so sure, but then she realizes after, and they are just so into one another. There's no one else that could possibly be that person for them, and you can feel it in the show. And like they're so nerdy. And the Star Wars quote, oh my god, the thing that really brings them together is not a Star Wars quote, but it's like talking like Yoda in a Yoda voice. Okay, like that, you have my heart right there. Done, done. One of the best couples ever. Maybe I'm biased because I'm a Star Wars nerd, but that's fine. Let's get to the down and dirty. Who are the worst? The worst, in my opinion, the worst screen couples. I mean, there's some real bad ones out there. There's some real bad ones that are like statistically bad. But anyway, we're not going to go there. We're going to stick with my original list. And that list is who did I start with? I start with Chandler and Monica. Okay, good. Then I'm going to start with Rachel and Ross. Rachel and Ross are not a good couple. The only reason why we wanted them to be together is because of their long story and how in love with her he was. In love with her he was since high school. So they plant the seed in your mind that you should be rooting for these two to be together when really they're awful together, awful. And when I was younger and first watched Friends and saw her, like her and Joey that time, that little storyline there, I thought, no, God, this is ridiculous. But then watching it as a grown woman, I'm like, you know what? Her and Joey are better together than Ross and Rachel. I don't care. I said it. I said it. I honestly think that they would have made a better couple and he would be better for her than Ross. And she would be better for Joey than she was for Ross too, probably. But I have a real problem with Ross, especially. I'm not trying to pick sides because I'm a girl and he's a guy, but they really make Ross a villain a lot in that show. Now, I'm not even talking about the we were on a break thing. Okay. Do I think that Ross and Rachel were on a break? No, I don't, because there was no confirmation coming from Ross. There was no actual conversation. She just said, maybe we need a break from us. He doesn't say anything. He just walks out. They didn't even talk about it. He just leaves. And that same night, a few hours later, he sleeps with somebody else. No, no, that's a no. But that's not even why. The reason why I dislike Ross for Rachel so much is this is actually a theme in my worst couples is the lack of support that he gives her and how selfish he is when it comes to her and like borderline controlling. And he shows that when he doesn't want her working at this new job that she loves because a man offered her the job. Well, guess what, Ross? I'm sorry, but especially in the 90s, whatever, who had the more higher up jobs? I'm guessing men, okay? And if a man happens to give a woman an opportunity for a job, she can take it. Like Monica says, even if he wants to have relations with Rachel, does that mean he gets to? And Ross is like, oh no. And it's like, exactly. You know what? Even if he had a crush on her, who cares? It doesn't mean Rachel will do anything about it. Anyway, see, this is what I mean about me getting heated. Woo! Um, so he basically doesn't try to sabotage her job, but he doesn't listen to her when it comes to her job. She's really trying to make something of herself, something that she has never done. And she's doing something that she's finally passionate about. And he has to make it all about him all the time. Everything's about Ross. Every single time, everything's about Ross. Nothing's about Rachel. And when she's working overtime and he's trying to like show up at her work and like be like, oh, pay attention to me. She's like, I can't. Like, I'm really busy. And she says, maybe I have something that's just mine. Maybe you're not involved with it and it's just mine. And that's good. Like, do you understand? And he's like, we see him like mouth no. So Rachel's not allowed to have any independence from you, Ross. Rachel's not allowed to have her own identity, Ross. Rachel's not allowed to be her own person. Ross, everything that she has to do in her life has to revolve around you and has to involve you somehow, Ross. And when she tries to involve you, what do? You fall asleep at the freaking fashion show. That's what you do, Ross. And then he gets mad at her and insults her job, basically saying, I fell asleep because my job is so much better than yours because mine's about dinosaurs and yours is about coats, and makes fun of her job and belittles her and makes her feel stupid. Oh my God. Okay, there's more I can say about Ross and Rachel, but I got off the plane. No, you shouldn't have gone off that plane. You should have went. I mean, granted, by that time they did have a daughter, and I didn't want them to be separate from each other because they should be at least in the same city because they have a child together. But Ross and Rachel infuriate me, especially Ross. Rachel's not perfect, okay? She has her things, whatever that she's done too. Can't really think of them right now, but I know there are things. I'm not trying to just like totally throw Ross under the bus. And I'm not saying that I don't like Ross as a character. Ross has some of my most favorite episodes on Friends. The leather pants, the tan, the teeth whitening, all those all those episodes are incredible. And I think he's a funny character in the later seasons. But goddamn, they shouldn't have been together. Rachel and Ross, terrible couple. Okay, I'm going to be going off on these bad ones, so I'm going to keep this one a little bit shorter just because I can talk about them for longer. The next one I'm going to go into is Allie. Okay, I already said half of it, and people might get mad at me for this. Allie and Noah from The Notebook. I remember watching The Notebook a long time ago when it first came out on VHS. And I didn't really care for it. It wasn't my type of movie. So I made myself watch it again recently within the last couple of months. And I'll admit, it's probably my old age, it's probably my hormones, but I cried at the end. All right. But it's because, they groom you into it. They groom you into it. And it seemed like the couple, even though they're the same couple, at the end is a different couple in the start. Because let me tell you, if people want to start throwing the word toxic around, how Noah even gets Allie to date him is manipulative and threatening and uh basically saying in front of her current boyfriend or date that he's gonna off himself. I know he's not going to, and he's hanging off that Ferris wheel, off himself if she doesn't say yes to go on a date with him. And he's really pushy, and she just kind of caves to him. And then I guess it's like Stockholm syndrome, and she's like falls for him. I guess he has good qualities, but I didn't love Ryan Gosling, but he seems kind of overly possessive, controlling, and angry and dark in the beginning of it. And it shows this like montage of them, things weren't always smooth sailing for the two, and they're all in these fights, like yelling, and she's hitting them, and they're being like kind of rough with one another. And I'm like, yeah, okay, because that's the average thing. Like, what are you saying to people? Like, you should be in this type of like borderline violent, hostile relationship and it'll end up all beautiful in the end? Like, no, I don't know, because I feel like she could have loved anyone. He was just obsessed with her. And you're supposed to be so rooting for them at the end. And I'm just like, and it is sad whenever I cried. It's sad. I mean, they really paint a good picture with that whole thing, but I don't like them as a couple really in that movie. And again, you're just groomed to be rooting for them and want them to end up together because of how obsessed he is with her. It just seems like a really hostile relationship. And I'm maybe people will look at that as being passionate. And I think passion's great, but when passion is a turn to aggression, there's a difference there. There's a difference between being passionate and being aggressive, you know? Okay, I'm gonna go on to a next one. I was looking at my list here. Okay, I'm gonna go with Anakin and Padme. Let's talk about the whole Star Wars franchise, maybe. Anakin and Padme have zero chemistry. And I know it's a lot to do with the script, but Hayden Christensen, I don't know. George Lucas directing those movies, I have no idea what he was doing. Did he care? Does he know humans? Like, does he know humans and human relationships? That is one of the most cringy relationships on screen that I've ever seen. It is so like the dialogue, the sand thing, the way he looks at her, it's like creepy. Like he's creepy with her. And then she's also creepy with him because she met him when he was a little child. And like it's kind mm-mm. I don't even know what to say too much about them except for it being so awkward and so uncomfortable and him being such a whiny baby and then him being so aggressive and her being like this like damsel and it's like God get out of here. Every single couple in this franchise, I'm talking about the main movie, the bulk movies, okay? I'm sure in like the other canon extended universe and like the video games and like the Clone Wars like cartoon and stuff, maybe there's more relationships that are like worth rooting for. But in the main movies, the main 9 movies, right? Nine? 3, 6, 9. Yeah. No. Kylo and Rey, don't force us. Don't force them. Don't force this. The force. I didn't even. That felt like a force choke. That felt like you're with this force choke by forcing this relationship and this love and this romance on us. Like, oh, I'm gonna give you a kiss at the end. Like, stop it. Don't make them kiss. And don't make Rose and Finn kiss. Why? Why does everyone have to kiss? Why does everyone have to be in relationships? Disney, why? Why can't you just leave people? Why can't you just leave a man and a woman alone and let them just be friends? Why do Rose and Finn kiss out of nowhere? There's no bill. Why isn't Ray and Finn a couple? That would make way more sense. Ray and Kylo, gross. Oh yeah, me- mentally abuse me and physically abuse me and let's beat each other up and like almost kill each other and try to manipulate my mind. But oh my God, I love you. No, no, terrible. Get out of here. And then the only good couple in the Star Wars universe was Han and Leia, and they ruined them. They split them up. They took Han's character and reverted him back to his old times, old days. He was a hero. But no, you got to make all the men stupid. Okay, thank you very much, Disney. Just make all the men hateable, make all the men stupid and evil, and then make all the women like these. Oh, I don't know if Han and Leia stay together forever in like the books, like the canon books where they have twins, right? They have twins. Why didn't they just Disney just keep that canon and put that in the movies? Do they break up or do Han and Leia stay together forever? Please tell me that in the books they stay together forever because I need that little shred of hope that there is a good couple in this series and that I love you, I know is a timeless, perfect quote that will live on forever without being tainted. For my last one, everyone knows if anybody knows me at all in the show, if anybody knows me at all in this world, you know what I'm going to say. And I'm going to break out the office again and say Jim and Pam. Jim and Pam. Okay, for Jim's sake, I like that they are a couple. Yes, Jim's loves her and whatever, they love each other. I'm glad they're together. He's a really good partner and a good husband and a good boyfriend. I know people say a lot of bad things about Jim. Honestly, whatever. It's nothing compared to Pam, Pam Beasley. I I've gone off on this before and I'm going to go off on this just a hair, just a little tangent of why they're not a good couple. And I think it's because of Pam and how Pam, again, wanted to keep Jim stagnant. I like to use that word, keep him in the same place, doesn't want him to move, doesn't want him to grow, doesn't want him to evolve, wants him to stay at a desk 10 feet away from her forever and not have him live out his dreams. The way she doesn't support his dreams infuriates me to no end. to no end. See? Should have been like, you go do this athlete thing, put in as much money as you need, whatever. We'll come up with money another way. Like, this is your dream. You go and you pursue it. You do it. Don't worry about me. I'll handle things here. You deserve happiness because then I'll make everyone happy and you won't resent me. And there'll be no resent. I just feel like, dude, the way she is with him, not letting him have his own opinion when it comes to getting the chairs or the copier. What? Just let him have his own opinion. Why do you have to get so mad at him? Why do you have to? I feel like that Jim and Karen were better. Jim and Karen were better. Karen was better because she wanted to help him grow. She wanted to make him mature. She didn't want to play all the pranks. She's like, come on, let's just like, she played pranks sometimes. She did little jokes. But for the most part, she's like, dude, we're at work. Let's just do work. And she could speak multiple languages. She got up on stage at Phyllis's wedding and sang. She was so fun. She was super attractive. She was too understanding of Jim, to be honest, because he was so stuck up on Pam for whatever reason. Karen Filippelli, prime choice cut meat. Pam Beasley, kind of like stewing beef, maybe. I feel like she's maybe like a stewing beef, like really tough and grizzly, but maybe if you simmer them for hours and hours and hours and tenderize them, then they'll be okay. Like, they'll be palatable, but they're not like a filet mignon like Karen Filippelli. That's what I would compare them to. Jim and Pam, don't do it for me. I can't. I can't root for Jim and Pam. I can't look at them and be like, this is a good on-screen couple, because Pam is the worst. Pam is the equivalent of a paper caught in the paper tray all crinkled up when you're doing a photocopy. She is that crinkled paper that won't come out and it's like stuck in there and you're frustrated and you got to kick the machine and you got to like open it up and like pull on it. And it's like, oh, it's Pam. It's all crinkly, like her hair in the first couple seasons. I loathe Pam Beasley. No. And she gets mad at Jim, thinking that Jim had something to do with the breakup between her mom and dad. And she gets mad at Jim, like, what did you say to my parents? What did you say to make my dad leave my mom? Like, she's such a baby. Shut up, Pam. Get out of here, Pam. And may I add that Roy is in much better shape after he leaves her. He ends up like rich and successful and clean cut and polite and talented and playing the piano, I think, at his own wedding. And he tells Jim that he dodged a bullet by not staying with Pam. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did, Roy. Good for you, buddy. Jim, you stuck. You stuck now with that Kermit the Frog voice and those neutral colored cardigans forever. Jim, thoughts and prayers. Okay, guys, that was my list. That was my list for best and worst on-screen couples. There are a lot more. Tell me what they are down below. I want to know if you're mad at me for picking these couples that I hate or that I love. I want to know what you disagree with, what you agree with. Let's just hear everything in the comments. Keep those comments coming. I want to know. Let's get into a discussion in the comments. I will be there and I will be talking to you. Thank you for watching this episode of Marie Plays a Doll. Thank you for coming on the side quest with me and being my companion. I hope everyone had a great Valentine's Day. If you're not into Valentine's Day, I hope you had a good regular day, because, not everybody's into it. And I think that's okay. You can find more of my content on our YouTube channel, Not a Strong Start. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Not a Strong Start. You can listen to us anywhere you listen to your podcast. Please like and comment and subscribe and share and spread the word about Not a Strong Start. Let's get this thing growing and going. Let's do this, guys. Come on. Press that subscribe button. Hit that bell. Hit that bell. And you can follow me on Instagram at Marie Plays It All. Never stop playing and never stop. I should have thought of this before I said this. Never stop loving what you love and hating what you hate. Just be true to you. You know what? If you love something and you like it, express it, enjoy it, just own it, do it. And if you don't like something, do the same thing. Do the same thing. Just like how I am so unapologetic about my loathing of Pam Beasley. I don't care. Come at me. Like, I will stand by it. I will stand by it forever. It's a terrible circus up in here.